Okay, so we're holding Para Gimel Tanya. How did we get to where we are? Basically, we wake up in the morning, we ask ourselves, what are we doing here? What's our mission? Why should I get out of bed? And so the first thing that Tanya tells us is, why are we here? Before we came here, we actually took an oath. We actually swore that we're going to be a tzaddik and we're not going to be a rasha. And even if, welcome, Barbara. Barbara's a dear friend from our Chabad house. Come sit. And even if the whole world tells you that you're a rasha, you should view yourself, even if the whole world tells you you're a tzaddik, you should view yourself as a rasha. So we have to understand, what does it mean a tzaddik? What does it mean a rasha? What does it mean a binani? And before we even answer that, take a step back and ask. We have to ask ourselves, what does it even mean to be a Jewish person? And to be a Yid means that our whole life, there's going to be a tug of war between our two souls. We have two souls, which is unique to a Jewish person, that we have two souls. We have an animal soul, which is our natural soul, which is an impulsive soul, which wants to make sure that we have food to eat and shelter and that we're taken care of. And then we have a godly soul, which is pulling us to something higher, to something much greater. And now what we want to understand is, we have these two souls. We know that we have these two souls. And the question is, how do I get my godly soul to operate? How do I get my godly soul? How do I turn it on? How do I get it to function? How do I start it? How do I get it started? So to figure that out, welcome. So we have to even take a step further, take a step back, and we have to ask ourselves another question. We know that we are created in the image of God, right? In the Torah, it says that Hashem said, let us make man, and let man be created in the image of God, and that's what God did. So our question is, God has no image. How can we be created in the image of the one who has no image? As a matter of fact, by Matan Torah, we got the Aseres HaDibros, right? And what does it say? You should not form an image of God. And it's one of our Yud Gimel Ikrei Emunah, is that Hashem has no appearance and Hashem has no form. So what does it mean that we're creating the image of God? So now let's ask ourselves, what does it mean? What does an image mean? My image, isn't me, but it's what I allow you to see. I choose what image I want to portray. And I could portray a certain image right now, but you don't know what my image was 5 minutes ago and what it's going to be 5 minutes after the class is over. So it's not me, it's what I choose other people to see. And the image could be nothing like the reality. So when Hashem created us in his image, it doesn't mean that Hashem created us like his essence. But rather, what happened? Hashem formed an image for the public eye. Hashem decided how he wants to portray himself to us. And then he created us in that image. Oh, it says, okay. Okay, we got thrown off for a minute, but we're back on. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay. Okay, so we're realizing that divine image does not equal to God's essence, to God himself, but rather Hashem created a structure to convey his image. He reveals himself to us, to his creations through this image. And what is it? How does Hashem reveal himself to creations? It's through the 10 ma'amaris, through the 10 utterances. How did Hashem create the world? With 10 ma'amaris, let there be light, let there be a sky. So that's your first clue. Welcome. Good morning. So there's 10 utterances that Hashem said, and that is Hashem's image. And as soon as you know there's 10 utterances, that's a clue that if we're created in God's image, that means also it's going to be something that has to do with the number 10. Hashem's image is 10 different combinations of divine energy. And each combination of divine energy has a different result. And these 10 combinations of God's energy are called 10 spheros. Spheros, what does the word sphera mean? There are 3 different explanations for the word spheros. Number 1, sphera means to count. Okay, I'm just remembering that I owe the Seder Shalshalis. I didn't do that last time. Okay. Okay. Sphera means to count. As soon as I'm counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cookies, right? As soon as I'm counting, well, I'm putting stuff into a structure. 12 eggs into a carton is a structure. So when I say 10 spheres, it's Hashem's image that he's putting into a certain structure for us. That's the image that he wants to portray to us. Sphera also comes from the word sipur. Sipur means a story. The 10 spheres are God's story. It's a story of creation. It's the story that Hashem wants to tell us. And sphera also has the word sapphire, which means a sapphire, the brilliant stone. And the spheros adds value and brilliance to our world. So our soul, created in the image of God, has 10 koiches, 10 powers, 10 components of energy. Okay, so we live upside down. We just know ourselves, and we look at ourselves and we say, oh, what does this represent in the higher spiritual worlds? But the truth is that everything starts over there, and down here is just an image, pun intended, of what's going on up there. So it's not that the physical reality produces spirituality, but rather it's the spirituality that produces the physical reality. So we are who we are because of where we come from. But we have to know where we come from in order to know who we are. So who are we? We are Jewish people that have a neshama, that have a godly soul. This godly soul has 5 parts: nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida, and each part has 10 powers, which is this structure, which is God's image, and our image, which is mirroring that. Nefesh, which is the lowest part of our soul, that is responsible for how we behave. Ruach, one step up, which means spirit, that is responsible for how we feel about what God wants us to do. And then neshama is the understanding. That's the power. From there comes the power for us to understand what Hashem wants us to do. And each of these levels of our soul each have 10 powers. Now, those 10 powers are divided into 2 categories. Now, it's divided that way for God, and it's divided that way for us. There are 3 mothers, and then there's 7 couples, or 7 peers, or 7 doubles. Okay, so the 3 mothers, we know them as Chachma, Bina, Das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. But we're going to go much deeper than that. And we're instead of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, we're going to use words like innovation for Chachma, research for Bina, and integration for Das. Okay, what's the job of a mother?
Raise her children.
right? Yeah. A mother is the one that gives life to new life. She breeds new life and she gives birth to the next generation. So the mother stimulates what's going to happen next. Without the mother, there's no children. Without the mother, there is no future. So you need chachma. Chachma is step one. Without chachma, without understanding, you have nothing. If I ask you, how do you feel about the economy in Africa? So you're going to say, I don't know and I don't care, right? I don't care because I don't know. If I don't have, it's irrelevant in my life. And if I have no knowledge about it, then there's no continuation. There's nothing. If I don't know anything about it, then nothing can come from it. There'll be no result. I can't act if I don't know. So the same thing is with my neshama. Nothing could happen. I want to, what the Parak Gimel is all about, how am I going to activate my godly soul? Nothing is going to be activated. Nothing is going to happen unless I start from Chachma, unless I have some kind of understanding. That's the button to press to get the godly soul going. It's true that by Matan Torah we said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. But it's v'nishma. We have to understand what to do in order to do it. I can't do if I don't understand. So the whole approach of Chabad is not just a nice name, but Chabad stands for Chachma Bina Das. And the approach of Chabad is that we have to invest in the intellect. We have to invest in understanding Judaism. Only once I understand, then I could have passion for Yiddishkeit, and then I could be dedicated to Yiddishkeit. So it's the Chachma that's going to breed, like the mother, it's going to breed a spiritual life. The mother gives physical life, and the Chachma is going to breed spiritual life, and it's going to keep us going. So if I want to activate my godly soul, I have to start with Chachma. And then, just like if I want to create an image, a girl going on a date, right? So she wants to create an image. So she's going to invest time, hair, makeup, dress, shoes, boots, whatever it is. That takes planning, takes strategy. So the same thing is with our neshama. We have to plan what the image is going to look like. So the image is actually going to be the 7 doubles, or the 7 days of construction, which is the 7 days of creation. That's going to actually be the image. My Chacham Bin Das, what I understand, no one else could see. That is the Chacham Bin Das, that's the strategy for the image that I want to create. The image is only going to come out in the 7 midas, and that takes planning, which happens in Chachma Bina Das, which is the 3 mothers. The Chabad is the foundation of the image, but no one can see it. Only the 7 midas, that's what everyone else could see. Why are they called doubles? Why are they called peers? Okay, so first of all, it's the 7 days of creation. So every single day of creation, including Shabbos, although Shabbos Hashem rested, every single day represents another midah. Sunday is chesed, Monday is gvura, etc. The 7 midas, each energy was used to create another day of the week. But why is it called doubles and peers? Because by Hashem, chesed is chesed, and it's only good. But by us down here, chesed could have 2 sides. So chesed is kindness, but kindness is not, if it's misused, it's not always good. Chesed without gevura could be dangerous. If I own a company, I'm a CEO of a company, and I say, okay, we're only going to have chesed, then I'm going to use all the money in one day. It would be very, very nice to the workers, no structure, and then all the money's gone, and then chesed is not good. Um, so these midas, these seven midas, again, mida comes with measurement. Again, you have structure. Everything has to be in the right measure, not too much, not too little, the balance. So when it comes to chachma, when it comes to intellect, that is objective. There's no two sides. There's no doubles for that. 1 + 1 is 2. No one else could argue that. But when it comes to midas, is chesed good or not? There's healthy kindness and there's not such healthy kindness. How it's going to be manifest. It could be manifested in a positive way. It could be manifested in a negative way. For example, chesed is all about tolerance. But if you tolerate a disease, then that is cruelty. The one who is kind to the cruel ends up being cruel to the kind. So that's why the seven midas are called doubles, because there's two sides to the coin. Okay. Okay, so that was class 1, Rabbi Shishler. We're on to class 2. Okay. So if we think that we're just going to sit and wait for our neshama to strike, wait for the inspiration to strike, wait for the light to switch on, wait for the inspiration to come, wait to feel spiritual and connected, that's wonderful, but it's just not practical. The soul doesn't hit like thunder, but if we want to activate the neshama, we need to do something about it. And this is very, very empowering, because we don't just have to wait for a shiur or for a great lecture or for a great rabbi to come and inspire us in order to activate our neshama. Each and every one of us, whenever we feel like it, we have the power to activate our neshama through chachma, through understanding. We don't have to, we're not dependent on anybody else. We could do it. We have to stimulate, we are able to stimulate change rather than just respond when something comes our way. So if everyone knows what a farbrengen is. People sit together and they challenge themselves and they challenge other people. So Rabbi Shishler was saying that he was farbrengen, when you have a license, when you're farbrengen, that you could say things that are a little bit out of the box. So he says that everyone is looking for inspiration. But inspiration is not a very Jewish thing. Inspiration is great. And imagine if someone could bottle inspiration and sell it on Amazon, right? It would be a very big money maker, right? But Judaism, Rabbi Shishler said, he says, I don't think Judaism believes in inspiration, because inspiration is great, but it doesn't last. Think of yourself in Shul on Yom Kippur, whichever tefillah talks to you, whether it be Kol Nidre, it'll be Nasana Taikef. You feel so inspired. But then what happens? The day after Yom Kippur, now the inspiration, now it's nostalgia. Remember when I felt the inspiration. We can't live our lives just waiting for the inspiration to strike, because we can't control when the inspiration is going to come. And even if it does strike, who says that it's going to have a lasting impact? So rather than focus on how is my neshama going to talk to me, focus on how I'm going to speak to my neshama. You initiate. We don't have to wait for our neshama. You know, when is my neshama going to wake up? You wake it up. You initiate. You could speak to your neshama. We have to ask ourselves, how can I stimulate? How can I reveal? How can I express my own soul? I can do it. I don't have I'm not dependent on anybody else. And the Chabad philosophy, the word Chabad, it encapsulates this philosophy that the essence of how Jewish spirituality develops, how spirituality develops, this starts with learning with Chachma. This is the Chabad philosophy, is to teach us that the Chabad model is that we start with Chachma, and that is going to get the ball. That's what's going to get the ball rolling. Okay. So we have a tongue twister. Paragimel, we have a tongue twister. And what does it say? Ki hine hasechel shebenefesh hamaskeles shehu hamaskil kol davar. So we already have three words that all have the sheresh of seichel in the beginning of Paragimel. So what does seichel mean? Seichel is intellect, intelligence. Okay. So how do we understand this verse? Until now, how would we define a chacham? A chacham is someone who is wise, and chachma is wisdom. And a talmid chacham is someone who dedicates their life to pursuing this wisdom. Okay. We're going to learn that chachma means something completely different. Because in this definition, if I use this definition of chachma, that chachma is wisdom, then if I have a question, I have to go to this chacham, this wise person, to get wisdom or to get understanding or to get an answer for my problem. So I don't have chachma, and I have to go to someone else who owns the chachma, who's holding the chachma, to get an answer for my question. That's understanding that we have until now. But we are going to see that chachma means something completely different. You know what chachma means? Okay. I'm sure you've all had this experience, and if only all the world leaders could have this experience. The experience is davening Shemoneh Esrei. You're davening Shemoneh Esrei, and it's a shame that during Shemoneh Esrei you can't have a paper and a pen and jot stuff down while you're davening Shemoneh Esrei. As soon as you start Shemoneh Esrei, you have all of the solutions for all the world problems. The second you take 3 steps back, 90% of all the great ideas just went out the window. So what's chachma? Okay, well, just a joke. This individual, he takes 3 steps back. He just finishes Shemoneh Esrei. The rabbi comes over to him, gives him his hand, Shalom Aleichem, as if he just came from a very far away journey. He says, I don't know where you were. I don't know where you were, but, welcome back, So why is it that we get our best ideas when we least expect to get them? When you're in the shower or when you're davening Shemoneh Esrei, and it's not a time of brainstorming. Shemoneh Esrei is a time to daven. When you least expect it, that's when you get the greatest ideas. A person could be stuck. A person could reach a dead end. And then all of a sudden in the shower, they got their idea. So now we're trying to define what is chachma. In Pirkei Avos it says, Ezu chacham haloymid mikol adam. Someone who learns from every individual. As David HaMelech says, Mikol melamdai hiskalti. From all my teachers, from all those that taught me, that's how I got my seichel. So until now, we thought, what's a chacham? Someone who's wise, a sage, an advisor, someone who I go to when I'm stuck and I'm seeking wisdom. But what is a wise person? What ezu chacham? You know what's a wise person? Someone who is open enough to seek wisdom from every person. The problem is that we are stuck with information that we have. Any couple that goes for therapy, marriage therapy, right? Marriage counseling, it's always the same. It's always the same. The same thing happens. The couple comes out, and what do they say to each other? What do they say to each other? You see, I told you. Right? Because each of them is stuck in their perception. This is how they each one said their side to the therapist, and they only see their side. So they say, see, I told you so. That is that means that a person is that is not wise. Wisdom is when you could open up yourself to something beyond what you already the intellect that you already possess. That is true chachma. We think that a chacham is the custodian of wisdom. He's holding on to it. He owns it. And we each believe that we are a chacham. Each of us, we believe, I'm a chacham. I've been on this earth for however 44 years, and I have accumulated so much chachma. I own it. This is how I perceive things. This is how I see it. I'm a chacham. I am holding on to chachma. And we're trapped in the wisdom that we already know. And what happens is if I have a problem, my wisdom is the one that got me into the problem. And I'm trying that this same wisdom should get me out of the problem. And I'm thinking of a solution, and let's say I'm at a meeting, at a company meeting, and there's a problem, and everyone is giving a solution, and I give a solution, and then my coworker says, that solution isn't really good because for this, that, and the other. And then what do? I recycle it. And I say the same solution in a little bit of a different way. Why? Because I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the information that I have, and I'm not willing to budge from it. And what do we say? I've tried so many times to find a solution for this problem. What does it mean? I've recycled similar ideas so many times, but I'm still stuck. Because we believe that the chacham owns the wisdom. And that is not chachma at all. To hold on to the wisdom to say, I own this wisdom is not wisdom at all. A person goes to a lecture, to a lecture for a topic that they're very, very interested in. And what happens is you come out of the lecture and you say, I didn't learn anything new. Why? Because you're taking all information that the speaker is speaking, and what are you doing? You're filtering it through what you already know, through your existing knowledge. But what it means when we go back to this phrase in the Tanya, kihine haseichel, this intellect, shebenefesh hamaskeles, which is in the part of me, part of my soul, hamaskeles. What does it mean, hamaskeles? It's the part of me that causes something to happen. For example, to learn is lilmod, is to learn, right? Or limud is to learn. Milamed, a teacher, As soon as you have the mem, if you're learning diktuk, the mem, a malamid, right? A teacher is someone who causes teaching to happen. He causes someone to learn. So when we say nefesh hamaskelas with a mem, it means this power of intellect. This power of intellect is a power that causes something to happen. Not that I should just be satisfied with the intellect that I have inside me and be stuck with it, but rather it's the process. It's the process of opening myself up to something new. That is what truly what chachma is. A mask, it means to cause a seichel to happen, to cause a new information to happen, to cause an idea. Chachma is, and this nefesh hamaskelis, this power that we have is causes an idea to sprout, something brand new. And there's two ways for chachma to happen. Number one, that it comes out of the blue. I don't know where it came from. I was in Rosh Esrei, it just flew into my head. So chachma is not something that I have, but it's something that I open myself up to. I'm opening up myself to a new wisdom. And another way of acquiring chachma is by learning from other people. Learning by reading a book that someone else wrote, or by speaking to another person, or learning from somebody else. But the problem is, I could have this chachma, I have this lightning. It was in the shower, it was in Rosh Esrei. I went to a lecture, I heard something about a seichel and understanding, and it sounds so brilliant. Okay, I apologize, it's my phone. And then what happens is, I come home, and I want to tell my husband or my child or something. I went to this lecture, I heard this most incredible thing, and I can't even say it. I can't even repeat it. So what happened? So what is it? Chachma is it's one of the most intense experiences that we have. It's this lightning, it's this wow, it's incredible new information that I open myself up to. On the other hand, it is one of the most fleeting experiences. It will come, and in a second, it magically disappears. And therefore, we need bina to ground it, to anchor it. Chachma by itself is not enough. Chachma is the first step, but we're going to need more than just chachma, because otherwise, it's just going to disappear. So, real chachma, it's not mine. And it occurs not because of me, but in spite of me. As soon as I'm able to put myself aside, that's when the chachma could come. When it's all about me, and it's all about me trying to use the resources that I already have, the resources that got me into this problem in the first place, I'm stuck and I can't move anywhere. Chachma is the ability to suspend myself, to make myself vulnerable, and that is the power of chachma. And what is it? Chachma, kayach ma. Chachma is broken into two parts. Chachma, the letters of chachma is kayach. It's a power. It's a paradox. It's a power. It's an ability, a potential. But ma, what is it? So you could ask, if I don't know what it is, how can it be powerful? Two opposites. And when you ask a question, you don't feel like you're such a chacham. However, when you ask a question, that is where chachma actually happens. Because what you know isn't working, and you're putting yourself aside to acquire new information. That is when chachma happens, and you could stop and ask a question. When something doesn't make sense to you, that's when actually That's actually where chachma happens. That is the most powerful place when you start asking questions. Chachma is the highest part of the soul. It's the part of myself that isn't stuck in myself. It's the part of myself that isn't limited. And it's the power to be ma. It's the power to be undefined. And it's the power to just let go, to tap into infinity. It's an incredible thing. And it's just incredible. This morning, I was preparing for the class, and then I was on my phone, and I saw an incredible few-minute video of my husband's very good friend in Toronto. He just built an incredible youth center, $25 million building. And you look at it and you're like, wow, this is to be able to have that breitkeit, to be able to have that to touch, to tap into something so infinite, and to not be so limited. And he has this incredible philanthropist that funded most of it. And his name is Larry. And Larry said to him, I want to see your vision. I want to know your vision. The building is a $25 million building, but his vision, what he told Larry on day one, he told him a vision of $150 million. That was that would take for his vision. The $25 million building is just a part of this vision. To be able to be so not limited, to be able to go out of to be able to go out of the box. That's chachma. That's incredible, because you know what? If we only realized our potential, but we're just so stuck. I can't do anything more than this. This is I can, I feel that I should be in control of this situation, and therefore I can't sleep at night. Chachma is let it go. There are bigger resources out there that could help me. I don't have to solve this by myself with my own limited information. And when I'm willing to relinquish my sense of control, that is the key to how I can actually climb to a higher dimension, to get a higher insight. So Chachma is the factory. It's the source of generating new insights. I don't have to stay in my box. I don't have to stay in the limited version that I have of myself. I can't, and I'm stuck, and that's it. But there's so much more. Chachma means that I'm not limited. I don't limit myself. And it's not about me. I need to find a solution. Forget the me. Put the limited me aside, and realize that there's an Eibishter. On the way here, someone sent me a funny video. It's this elderly woman. She gets into a car. She's on her way. The driver. She's on her way to a party, whatever it is. So she's waiting for the Uber to come. This car pulls up, but this car pulls up, and the driver comes out, and he opens the door for her, makes sure she's comfortable in the seat, and then he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I have to go to the bathroom." So she says, "Okay, no problem. Better go to the bathroom now." The driver leaves, and all of a sudden, the car starts driving by itself. It's an automated. The whole thing. It's a car. It's a car that someone else is controlling. I don't know exactly how it works. But this woman is freaking out. She's in a car, and the car is driving by itself, and they're it's basically a prank. And the words that are coming out of her mouth are not very complimentary to anybody. but she's freaking out because she says, who would you like to call? She's like, she wants to speak to her daughter, and she's screaming at her daughter, do you understand? I'm in this car and driving by yourself. And the daughter's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It can't be a car driving by itself, but it's all just a prank. And I was laughing because you know what? We are all that lady. It looks so funny. We're sitting in the car. The car is driving down and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's already 5 minutes in. She should see already if the car is driving and nothing's happening. There is no crash. It's fine. And then the car it says, oh, we're rerouting, and then the car gets to the destination, and there's the big party, and everyone's laughing, and she's really, really mad. But the point is that we're in the car and we're freaking out. The steering wheel is moving by itself. And we can't imagine how could it be that this is crazy. I'm going to die. I'm going to die because I'm not in control. I'm in the back with the seatbelt, and the car is just going by itself. And we're so limited. We're so stuck in our perception that a car can't go by itself, that really the whole thing is a prank. And this car, it's basically like a remote. This car is being controlled by some kind of remote, and there's a whole bunch of people that are all laughing and controlling this vehicle, and pretending to be all kinds of people that she's speaking to. And the truth is that Hashem is in control. You're fine. We're fine. Hashem is driving the car, and we're going to be okay. But we're so stuck in our that we feel, okay, today is going to be such a stressful day. So my husband tells me this morning, says, Chani, today is going to be a very stressful day. We're trying to do a fundraising campaign, and we're going for where our family's going for a Shabbaton this week. So he says, I have to prepare for bringing, and I have this fundraising campaign on my head. And I sent him this video. I said, for your stressful day, just watch this to know you think you're in control. Is the guy gonna be a matcher? Is he not gonna be a matcher? Forget it. It's fine. If this guy says no, it will be someone else. It's okay. Just let go. As soon as we're able, I could say that about him, but I have my own, I could never, but to be able to, it's always easier to see how someone else could let go, but to be able to let go and to say, you know what, there's something much bigger than me and what I think I can do. And as soon as I tap into the chachma, you know what? We could have a $25 million school in Tom's River. We could open a Chabad school if we just, okay, that's my block. That's the thing that I block. But we're constantly blocking things blocking these ideas that are coming to us, and we're saying, no, I cannot. There is no way. It's impossible. Because we're stuck in our chachma, but we're stuck in our wisdom. But we have to get chachma. Chachma means that I have to put myself on the side and realize that it's not all about me. And just because I don't understand how this car is moving by itself and how the steering wheel is moving, doesn't mean that I know everything. It's to get out of myself. That's what chachma. That's what chachma is. I need to. It's kayach. It's a power, but ma. What is it? I need to disappear so that the message from the infinite God can come through into my space. And if I'm the gatekeeper, I'm standing by the gate, and everything has to fit into my preconceptions, then nothing can get in. So chachma is not associated with how brilliant, how academic a person is. Chachma is associated with holiness. How much can I let go of myself and let Hashem in? That's chachma. Chachma is when I could put myself outside and I could be a vehicle. I could be transparent for something so much greater. I could let Hashem shine through me. That is chachma. And we call a Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is a fool, the opposite of chachma. What is the Yetzer Hara? What is a fool? Someone who is detached from Hashem, someone who is detached, as a lack of chachma. Yetzer hara is a fool. A fool is someone who lacks chachma. As soon as you lack chachma, you are detached from God, because chachma is holiness and godliness. That's what chachma actually is. So we think chachma is wisdom. Chachma is wisdom. Chachma, we have to change. We have to change and realize that chachma means tapping into infinity, tapping into holiness, tapping into godliness, tapping into something greater than me. Chachma is putting myself aside and being open to Hashem. That's what chachma is. Okay, and chachma is when we're at the brink of discovery. When we say, this is odd, I don't understand this doesn't make sense. That's when we're learning something new, discovering something new. That is chachma, and that is when Hashem could shine into our space. And what's a Talmid Chacham? Or Talmidei Chachamim? Talmidei Chacham are not people that just possess an incredible amount of wisdom. That's not what a Talmid Chacham is. A Talmid Chacham is someone who practices constantly, who's a Talmid. He's a student of Chachma. He's constantly working on himself to retain a state of Chachma. It's not just someone who acquires a lot of information. It's, are you able to have Hashem? Are you able to make space for Hashem? So I'm processing this while we're learning. Chachma, we think Chachma is wisdom, Chachma is understanding, Chachma is being a smart person. We're changing that. And I'm trying to have a Chachma experience by breaking free of this concept of Chachma is just wisdom, and understanding that Chachma is holiness, Chachma is godliness, Chachma is tapping into tapping into the real truth, which is Hashem, surrendering myself. And it says Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the most humble. He was the most humble person. It doesn't say that he was the most clever person. Shlomo Melech may have been the most clever person. It's not about how clever you are. Humility. Moshe Rabbeinu, what was Moshe Rabbeinu? What did Moshe have? What did Moshe have that no one else had? Moshe was the most transparent. He let Hashem through him. Moshe had the most chachma. He allowed Hashem to speak through him. That is Moshe's quality. Anav, what does it mean to be humble? Someone that realizes that everything that I have is a gift from Hashem. Someone who realizes that if this brainwave hit me, it's not because I'm so great. I didn't produce it, but rather I was fortunate that Hashem sent this brainwave to hit me. And I'm fortunate that I was open enough to actually get it. So Chachma is a constant state of being able to receive insight from Hashem. It's unbelievable. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. We have to change, reprogram ourselves. Come to this Tanya class. Like, before when Esty, people ask me, oh, could we start Tanya again from the beginning? And I was like, we did it already. We did it already. That is an extreme lack of chachma. It's not just attaining. We think, okay, I learned it already. I know it. That's not chachma. Chachma is to be in a constant state of receiving insight from Hashem. That's chachma. Receiving depth, receiving spirituality, receiving instruction from Hashem, and not to block it. Chachma is the capacity for openness to that which is higher than me. And this is what Yiddishkeit's all about. A person says, oh my goodness, how am I going to be able to do this? 613 mitzvahs? That's crazy. And then when you first realize that 613 mitzvahs, that's just where you start, because each mitzvah has so many other parts to it, right? But what is Judaism? Judaism pushes us to that which we never believed we were capable of. Stop thinking about yourself and realize that we have an opportunity to transcend ourself. That's the whole point, to go beyond, to go out of the box, to do the impossible, to do what we think we can't do. If we, Chachma is the part, that Chachma is where we start. Chachma is the beginning of the process of letting go, of letting go and letting God in and transcending ourself. Being open to something that's greater than us, to something that's above me, but then we need this anchor to be able to. We need an anchor to be able to hold on, to this chachma that shouldn't just fly away. Chachma is similar to when we have conception. When there's conception, you have the masculine part and the feminine part. Chachma represents the masculine part. The male contribution is just the seed. His input is fleeting. It's dramatic. It's compelling. It's incredible energy. It's very, very short. The mother is the one who the baby develops in her for 9 months. It's not as exciting. It's much more long term. The chachma, that's the masculine. That's the flash. That's the inspiration. That's the lightning that hits you. That's that wow moment. And then we're going to need bina to be able to what was the word that we said in the beginning? We need bina, which is the research. You have to research it and develop it. That's what bina is. We're almost done. Chachma is that lightning. Imagine that you're in a room. There's a blackout. It's pitch black. And all of a sudden you have a bolt of lightning, that chachma. What you have to do is you have to strategize and figure out, how can I hold on to that lightning to be able to get myself safely out of this room? To get myself safely out of here, to get a flashlight or whatever it is, right? So the next time there's a lightning, instead of, the whole room lit up, focus on one part of the room. Focus on the door. Where is the door? Just focus on where is the door. How can I get out of here safely without bumping into furniture? So that's the same thing. We have this chachma, we have this lightning, but we have to anchor it. We have to have a strategy for how I'm going to take the chachma and incorporate it into my life. We have to tie it down. I have to do something about it. I have to work with it. Okay. So we have to be conscious of, just to summarize, we have to be conscious of our chachma ability, which is the ability to say that there's a whole world out there, particularly tons of holiness and godliness for me to tap into. And I'm open to hear it, even if it will go against everything I thought I knew. And this is where the real learning begins. And then we have to have the follow-up program, which is to consolidate it all, which is Bina. Okay, questions?
I just want to say that Rabbi Chase now, when he gives a class, he tells you ahead of time, don't jump from one class to another. Take a walk around the block and marinate in what you just learned.
Yeah.
Really to think about it, how to apply it. I daven every day by Chachmit in the Das and Shmana Esra. Hashem, please, I'm going to learn. I'm going to Chani today. Help me to learn, to understand, to apply, and to teach.
Right. So I'm in this journey with you. This is all brand new to me as well. That's why you saw me. I was word for word in my notes because I haven't internalized it either. We're all in this together. If you go to YouTube, Rabbi Ari Shishler, Parak Gimel, this is a summary of the first two classes, but it's really word for word. Maybe I said it a little quicker, but it took word for word because I had to write it down because it was so different than and when we're learning Tanya, We're putting ourselves aside. We're coming with an empty, plain canvas, and we're opening up ourselves. And the main thing is that we have to realize who we are. Who are we? We are Hashem's children, and we have incredible power. We could touch the divine, each and every one of us. Okay, we don't want to quantify it in dollars, but each and every one of us is capable of having a $25 million or $150 million Chabad house, building, school. We're able to do so much more than what we limit ourselves to, because we're stuck in what we think our limitations are. And Chachma is put yourself aside, open yourself up to the Eibishter, to godliness, and to let Hashem in. That's what Chachma really is.
Know the story of the elephant that was trained from very young with the kids with the chain,
Yeah.
and then they took it off. Yeah, they take the chain. He still behaves like he's chained. That's how we are. Our past experiences chain us.
Yeah.
Or with I don't know if it was a whale or a shark in the pool, they put like a string on the bottom. Every time you went over, they gave him a treat. And he was so moved up and up and up.
Wow.
It was really, really hard. He was able to jump very high because he knew that if he gets over the rope, there'll be a treat on the
There you
side.
go. There you go.
So,
Yeah.
It's all about being open.
Yeah. But this is the one line. This is the one line. It's Chachma is being in a constant state, something you have to constantly work on. That's something I acquired. I know it. I got it. I'm done. It's to be in a constant state of receiving insight from Hashem.
it's bittul.
It's bittul. Chachma is bittul. Chachma is bittul. Humility. You see, everything's coming together. Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble. Most humble was the greatest anav. Because in order to have chachma, you have to be humble, because that's what humility is. Put yourself aside. That's exactly what it is. Okay.
You see brilliant minds that just can't get it.